Welcome to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yance, and today is part 10 of my interview with Evan Crooke. He's a writer, a director, a producer, a distributor. Enjoy. So, wrapping up here,
Yeah,
these are my little, this is my little inside the actors studios
sure.
questions I ask
Huh.
everyone.
Yeah.
So, do you have a beginning of the day routine?
Yeah, I do. The beginning of the day routine sets out with making a list of priorities that I want to get done within the day. And if I could get 3,000 things done in a day, I'll try that, but I'll make a short list of what are the top priorities that I want to achieve.
Do you have a nighttime routine?
My nighttime routine is watching at the end of the day before going to bed, watching product, meaning movies, watching a movie, watching a TV show that I'm inspired by that is new. I'm looking for something that's very innovative as much as I can find, or reading a book that's very innovative and different. And then going to bed, and generally something that's making my head race and thought provoking. Not the most, not the most relaxing. It sounds crazy, but I'll watch something that is really edgy and very on really, get your blood pressure going just before going to bed. So it's completely, it makes no sense whatsoever. And of course, I can't fall asleep. But anyway, I end up doing that a lot.
do you do you meditate?
No, I don't meditate. Although lots of people have suggested and so on, and I probably something I should learn to do because I have a tendency to think too much and certainly
I have the perfect
overthink.
meditation for you.
Oh, yeah,
You should do transcendental meditation. They'll
what
give
is
you a
that?
mantra.
Hmm.
Um, like the Hollywood meditation started kind of with the Beatles kind of start,
Right,
but you get a mantra. It's very old school. Like when you
right,
come in, they do all this old stuff.
sure,
I brought in bananas or whatever, and they
right,
bless the fruit and things like
right.
that, and then they give you a mantra, and you
Wow,
do that 20 minutes a day, twice a day.
wow,
And David Lynch, swears by this.
wow.
Cameron Diaz does this. I mean, a lot of,
I should do
famous.
it.
What I like about it is it kind of takes away. I mean, you're still going to think about other things,
Right,
but what you're doing is you're stopping yourself to just stay in that 20 minutes. Or
sure,
at least you're
sure.
doing something there.
Yeah,
And I don't know. I think
yeah,
since we have similar minds, I think
yeah.
that would help you the best.
No, that's good
Yeah.
advice. And I
Uh,
think being an artist, as we know, right? We're always filled with ideas, right? And
yes.
sometimes we have so many ideas. The question is, what ideas are you going to shape it down? And you got to stay focused on those ideas.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just a barrage, a collage of ideas that never gets facilitated, you
Yeah.
know? And
Well,
so,
it goes back to your father, finding the simplicity and the complication of
exactly,
everything.
correct. I agree.
What are you reading right now?
Well, I'm actually just started a thing called Mr. New Orleans, which goes back to some real criminals back in New Orleans and that area of the country. Uh, Interesting piece. And I'm also going back and reading uh, another book that I have the rights to that I've got to decide if I'm
Okay.
going to develop it or not, basically. And it's the problem with this other book is it's very, very tragic, uh,
Mhm.
very depressing, and it deals with a lot of issues and regarding sort of the cliche of white trash, if you will, poverty and other things. And so I'm trying to make a decision on that one. If there's something that I can do that goes back to once again feeling
Yeah.
fresh and different that we haven't seen before. And if I can't answer that, then I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to let that project go.
I mean, it's an interesting concept and everything, but yeah,
Right,
you're dealing with a lot of grief and stuff. That can be a hard sell
right,
for
exactly.
some people. You're gonna have
Right,
to find if you can find an angle that will,
right.
cloak that. I mean,
Yeah.
thinking
I don't
like
want to
Breaking
make a
Bad,
exactly. I
you
don't want to
know,
make a production that I have to
if
sell razor blades with it,
if it
So
was just a yeah, if it was just a, if Breaking Bad was just, cancer, no one would watch it. But
right,
because put around this whole thing, and it's about a man rediscovering himself throughout the
Right.
cancer. It's like, oh, now we like,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know.
Right. You gotta
Um,
frame it in a way that people can digest it.
what are you listening to right now?
Well, a variety of music, but I'm listening to, believe it or not, some Johnny Cash and some other
Really?
songs. Yeah, for one of the projects that I'm working on that I think it's the opposite of what anybody would expect. And a lot of times working in opposites can work very nicely. So
Oh,
yeah, some of his songs have quite a bit of edge to it, and yeah, so we'll see. But anyway, yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
What are you watching right now?
I've been really getting into, one of my actor friends had turned me on to, which I never saw, Snowfall, developed by
Hmm.
John Singleton,
Yeah,
on
I've heard about that.
Hulu, and it had 6 seasons, and I'm into the fourth season. The first 3 seasons are phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
the acting is really good. I mean, it's really got a great level of edge, and where the stakes keep escalating and escalating and escalating, and how our main character continues to adapt and defy what we expect and perseveres in spite of all the problems that he's going against. And it's a guy who grows up in the hood who makes a choice to sell
Well, it's
base.
John Singleton, so of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. To sell crack cocaine in
Yeah.
the 80s, basically. And
Wow.
it's loosely based on, real stuff happening in the 80s, of course. So
Yeah.
but it's a good show. I'm watching some other shows. And I intend to start on the new Fargo, which I haven't had time to jump onto.
I still haven't watched that
Yeah.
show at all. I should
Oh, the
watch that.
first the first couple
I
of
hear it's
seasons
pretty
were
good.
very, very well done, and very interesting. And then we'll see if the new season comes. I think it will be, but they had a mixed bag of some seasons being very good. But What We Do in the Shadows is a great comedy.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
I watched some of
Um,
that.
right. And then on movies, I've seen all the usual top things that have been out that we talked about.
Did you see
Oppenheimer.
Ferrari? Have you seen Ferrari?
No, that one I have not seen. That's on my list. Did you see
That's
it?
pretty. Yeah, I did. I
Okay.
liked it. I mean, it's
Good.
a Michael Mann movie, so if
Yeah,
you like
yeah. I'm
his
a big fan.
style of
I do. I do like his
yeah.
films. I still think Thief is his number one film he's
I
ever.
know you told you.
Yeah. It's his most raw work, and it's really well done. It's
I really enjoyed Priscilla with that's the Sofia Coppola film. But if you were talking about a film like commercial and artistic, it lends more to the artistic side. I mean,
sure, sure,
I like it, but it's slow and you're seeing a part of Elvis that, they don't really show in the Elvis movie that I don't think
sure,
some people are going to be able to like because it kind of shows kind of his abusive side
sure.
to it.
Yeah.
I realize I like her filmmaking and I like the way she uses music. I think it flows pretty well.
I
But
didn't
I
see
can
it
see
yet.
some people.
I'll have to
Yeah,
check it out. Yeah.
that's an interesting film and a film that's really good commercially and artistically. I would say The Holdovers,
Hmm.
Alexander Payne's movie.
Yeah. That's
I was
on.
really blown away by that.
It's another movie
That's
on my list, but I haven't.
he
Yeah.
he's able to do the artistic stuff, but also keep the narrative moving. And
Sure.
from everyone that has seen it, I think the same thing. You walk away with it's like this is
Sure.
really good.
That's awesome. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Uh,
I would suggest Holdover.
yeah.
Did you see Succession?
Yes, I saw all of them.
What'd you think?
I thought I
I'm
thought
interested to hear.
I thought it had a lot of potential, and I was entertained, but I was disappointed the meat and potatoes of it is just the usual dialogue over dialogue with absolutely no substance that means anything,
Yeah.
very similar to Billions.
Yeah.
And there is this smoke and it's look at the shiny objects, look at the shiny
Yeah.
objects. I'm entertaining you, which goes back to what I said is the most important. You got to entertain the audience.
Yeah.
But without the meat and potatoes, you don't have a through line that leaves me like Billions and Succession. I was entertained, but was
Yeah.
I moved by it and did my life change because of it? No. Whereas something
Yeah.
like a John Singleton show, Snowfall, the first three seasons, not only am I moved by it, and
Yeah.
I'm moved by it, I'm also entertained. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of this going on where the the creators of some of these shows have gotten
Yeah.
very creative to give you just a little nibble here, a little nibble there. Oh, they're talking
Yeah.
about a deal. Do we know what the deal is about? No, we don't need to
Yeah.
know that. Oh, and do we know what the objective of this person is? Yeah, we know that that person wants power and to wipe out
Yeah.
this other person. Okay, so we basically create a show
Yeah.
that forms in big general concepts,
Yeah.
but the general concepts are never broken down to the heart of the actual person, right? So now what that means is, well, I care about this person, but I don't really give a about this person. Right? Right? It means like if the show goes off tomorrow morning, I'm not going to be disappointed. Whereas if I create a
Yeah.
show or a movie that has the general concepts that's wowing me and entertaining me, but I've got a real through line, that real
Yeah.
nucleus,
The
that character
closest
arc.
character to that, to like feeling something, was probably Kendall, but like he's
Yes.
flawed one, and that's kind of hard to.
Yeah,
So,
but
I
even
mean,
then,
he's
imagine how much
yeah.
Kendall would have been more developed if
Yeah.
if instead of talking about gibberish about
Yeah.
even like the ships and this and that, the ship line, and then
Yeah.
the whole ripoff of not the impression of Fox News and this and that.
Yeah.
It, if there was actually a thread that meant something that
Yeah.
followed consistently through, that we could attach ourselves to, that we use that as a way to get to know our character, as opposed to just seeing their emotions exude out.
Yeah.
Now we have real purpose. We have clear objective for our character tied to the plot lines. Unfortunately, the Billions idea and the Succession idea follow two things. They are plot driven. They are not
Yeah.
character driven, which means that they are not guided by the character's objectives. They are guided by
Yeah.
plot points. And when you
Yeah.
develop something by plot points, now you've done the opposite of the exact opposite of what I started with, which is yes, you have to entertain the audience, but
Yeah.
I said right after that, it has to mean something. So if you go with
Yeah.
plot points and only plot points, then all you've done is only entertain the audience. So you've given them a popcorn story with
Yeah.
nothing that they care about. I could give two
Mhm.
shits about Succession or Billions because there's
Yeah.
nothing in it that makes me really care, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
because they're developed with plot points. So,
That's a good point. That's a good way to look at it.
right. But
You're right. It's
will I tune in to watch? Will I give them my dollars and cents? Will I give them
yeah.
my time? Absolutely. I'll be
Yeah.
entertained,
Yeah.
but will I be emotionally moved? Hell no.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know.
Uh,
I'm like going back to. I mean,
will I see some good performances that
hmm,
I'll feel emotion for a moment? Absolutely. But
yeah.
will I be able to tell you in one sentence or one word, what was this character's journey like? What was this character's mission and objective? What
Well,
was the
they
story
changed it
about?
so much. I mean,
It did change it.
Axe was first this,
Yeah,
Rhodes is this, and
yeah,
then
it
Rhodes
got,
is.
yeah, exactly. There are parts that just got it crazy, and it
And
got,
there's like common sense there. Like, sometimes when I would watch Billions, I'd be like, why didn't you just say that?
yeah, it's
They just never would say
success.
that.
Yeah, Succession was better written than Billions, but they both have
Yeah.
the common theme, which is they are plot driven. And
Yeah.
most writers and a lot of just formula TV like that are they write by plot points. And if you don't in my opinion, I'm old school.
Yeah.
Sit down, you write a story. You just write a story. Forget about script format. Write a story. Tell a story.
Yeah.
Then after the story, continue to work on those characters and
Yeah.
build those characters, develop those characters, and really interrogate those characters and what their objectives are. Then after that, fine tune it with where the plot points are going to go and throw the obstacles at
Yeah.
those characters. Then after that, write the great screenplay. So it's a very, very agonizing, it's a very tedious, not agonizing, but a very tedious
Yeah.
discipline.
But you know where you're going.
Right, exactly. Before you
And
get
that
to the
seems to be the
right,
problem. They don't
right.
know where they're going. You know,
No,
it's
it
like,
goes in circles and circles and circles and circles. I could tune into episode 5 on either of those and then jump to episode
yeah.
1 and episode 10 in any season,
Yeah.
and I'd basically be in the same loop. I'm in a loop.
Yeah.
I'm in a loop. Why am I in a loop? Because
Yeah.
there are plot points.
It's a good point. What did you think of?
Imagine if your own life or our lives were written that way. We would have
Yeah.
zero substance. we had no soul.
Yeah.
There'd be no soul.
Well, they simplify the characters in some ways, so they just start at this basis. This
Right.
is who they are.
They
This
use
is who
the
they
most
are.
common denominator with the
Yeah.
most common stereotypes to function within a plot point scenario.
Yeah.
And really good writing, in my opinion, gets down to character and the objectives of those characters, and then life happens to those characters, not the other
Yeah.
way around. If you put
Mhm.
life and plot points first and then come up with your characters, you're doing it backwards.
Yeah.
You
That's a good
know,
point.
so humanity is made up of humans. Humans have
Yeah.
objectives.
Yeah. What do they?
So,
What did you think? All right. So what did you think of like Game of Thrones, where that's like the first few seasons were based off of books, so you had that kind of depth. Then when you get to the later seasons, you lose the books, and you can notice the difference right away.
Yeah.
It's back to plot points.
yeah, the first several seasons were phenomenal, and it was clear with the objectives. But even a show, one of the shows I forgot to mention that I
Yeah.
watched a while ago. I'm not what you asked me what I'm watching now, but I think probably one of the most profound shows, heartbreaking, passionate shows that everybody should watch, that I would say people's lives depend on watching. I would go that far. And I would say that 1883 is probably one of the most poetic shows of excellence ever written in time. It is
Really?
it is
Yeah.
so well done that it shows the horrors and the agony and the struggles that these pioneers had to go through in order to settle the country. Any day that you sit and you think you're having a bad day, man,
Oh yeah.
talk about living in the 1700s and settling the West. Those were
Yeah.
tough days.
You could die of food poisoning. You could
So,
die of getting
right.
killed.
So,
You know. Yeah.
so Yellowstone was okay. It was fine.
Could I watch 1883 without seeing Yellowstone, or will it not work?
Oh yeah, no, you don't need to watch You don't need to watch Yellowstone to watch it. 1883 is by far Tyler's most
Really?
profound piece of work. I mean,
Man, I'm gonna-
he sunk his heart and soul in it. It's like two different, right? Oh, it is some of the best voiceover, by the way, with that emulates in telling a story. And it is really I could only watch 2 episodes at a time because it was so thought-provoking and so emotional and so heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. What these people went through. I mean, really powerful stuff.
Man,
And
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna look at this.
it is give it 3 episodes and tell me you're not in tears. It is
All right.
it is phenomenal, and the actors. It is clear that everybody involved believed in what they were telling. They understood the significance of the horrors that were inflicted on Indians, the horrors that that settlers did to each other, and the pain
Yeah.
and suffering that they went through just to cross and to settle into the rest of America. And
So they
it,
show the pain. See, that's the problem with a lot of like historical things, especially in television, where they'll just like gloss over that.
no, no, no.
Especially with
This
period
is
pieces, they like
no.
to think it's like, oh, everybody was happy. It's like, no,
Yeah,
not these
if
people.
you don't feel something from watching 1883, you need to check for a pulse.
All right, I'm
That
gonna
is
watch this.
probably one of the best shows ever written in the history of time, hands down,
Yeah.
no question about it. There's a reason
Well, you
why
mentioned
it won so many awards.
you mentioned Billions, so I wonder if you've seen this. What did you think of the third season of Twin Peaks?
Gosh, I don't remember. I mean, it was so um,
When
I
we're talking about like commercial and
yeah,
artistic,
yeah,
he
yeah,
straddles that line.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um,
I like
yeah,
it, but I just imagine like how
yeah,
most people is he has that dialogue where it just kind of sits.
yeah,
And it's
exactly.
funny. A friend and I we watched Lost Highway and we would like pause it every 2 seconds and go, "Why does this scene work?
Yeah, you
Why
mean
does this work?"
David Lynch, right?
Yeah, David
Yeah.
Lynch. We would stop it and yeah, it was like just on last Saturday. We're just like, okay, why does this work?
Mm.
And he would look at it and he would go, well, they're completely blown out, but it's like, but we don't care about that. Why is that? And he would be like, well, the story is so
Right.
interesting,
Look,
even though we don't know what's going on.
you can have a boom drop in the shot. You can you know
Yeah,
cut on the access, not cut on the access. You can break every rule in the world as long as you are conveying an emotion and you are
yeah,
entertaining your audience and you are delivering something that is gripping. The audience
yeah,
could see the entire crew behind the cast. If it's powerful enough, they'll stick with it.
yeah,
And then ultimately in the end, if it works, it works. That's all that
yeah.
matters.
That's
And
funny. We watched like we would watch like behind the scenes,
right,
and David Lynch would be like, well, I don't really talk about it, but like the longer the interview went, he like we're like, wait a minute, did he just tell us what the hell it's about?
right, right, exactly.
By accident?
Right, exactly. I, I think the most important work that ever comes out is not what one character is saying, but rather
Mm.
how the other character is actually reacting to that character or what they're saying. And what's so amazing in 1883, the reactions are as powerful, if not more powerful, than what is being said. And so it's a very visual and powerful story.
And
And then,
that's Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford, correct? In that one?
sorry,
Isn't it?
no, 1880, no, 1883
Oh,
doesn't
that's
have, that's before
oh,
Harrison.
okay.
That's 1920 something. That's later
I
on.
mean, they've done like a bunch of
No, Yellowstone was okay.
yeah,
1923 with Harrison Ford was okay. 1883 is his best work he's ever done by far, very profound. It is a good, it is a perfect
Is this
blend
the
of,
one with Faith Hill in it or whatever?
this is the young blonde who's in it, who's the daughter, and it's got, I can't remember.
Is it Tim McGraw?
I don't remember if he's in it or not. I'm drawing a
Okay.
blank, but
Oh,
1883 is something that isn't about, it was not something about wowing you with shiny objects. It was something
it's
about,
hard.
this was something about, this is important to get right. And it's important for you to know what happened. That's what this
Yeah.
story is about. And there
Okay.
are those stories, and they come around once in a blue moon. And I would say that 1883 is right up there with The Pawnbroker, right up there with The Godfather, right up there with Lawrence of
Yeah.
Arabia, right up there with Steel and Magnolias. It is equivalent to all those great films. That's how good it is. Yeah.
All right. All right. I'm gonna watch it.
And I was not able to get through every episode. I mean, I had to, 2 or 3 episodes, I was emotionally spent. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I've only got to
Yeah.
ask you one other thing, but we'll do that after. All right, so I'm gonna wrap us up right now, and then
Okay,
I'll cut
sure.
us off and I'll ask us one more thing.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so Well, thank you so much for doing this. This has
Yeah,
been
of course.
great.
No, thank you for letting me blab. And
No, it's great.
yeah, I
Such
think
detail. I
I
love
think
that.
yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you and what you're doing. And
Yeah, you're not giving
you
these
know,
easy answers. You're really explaining it, really explaining why distribution and why production and why these things are happening and
sure,
how filmmakers should look at this
right,
and see this as a business and
right.
realize that that's not a sin
No,
against your art.
no,
That's going
it's
to
not a
help
sin
it,
to make a living at what you love doing.
which I
And
think a lot of people think that.
no,
Think that
no,
it's a sin to make money, so it's
no,
it's good to hear somebody on the other end of it and be like, no, you can do both.
yeah,
Here
you
it
can do
is.
both. And I think the trick is to find what makes you really happy and then to keep doing it relentlessly and find and learn as much as you can about the industry and be willing to understand that all industries, including ours, are evolving all the time. They're constantly evolving. And why is that? It's not because the framework or the engine or Hollywood or someone's pulling all the strings and wants to evolve or change things. It's because we're made up of human beings. And like
Yeah.
any relationship, if you're in a marriage, a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, parents, whatever it is, who you are today and how you handle things will be different than how you will handle them in 20 or 30 years and even 5 years. The industry
And
is
if you did do them the same way, then you haven't grown at all.
right, right, exactly.
Sorry.
And so your principles can stay the same. Your objectives can even stay similar or the same, but you have to be able to adapt and you have to be able to know that the industry will change, people will change, and you have to be continuously unwilling to give up about your dream. The only thing that matters to me in life are two things: the people that I love, having felt that love experience and trying to feel it as much as I can, and what I build, because everything else is irrelevant. We're builders. That's what we are. As artists, we are actually builders. We build. We take dreams and we build them. And either we succeed or we fail. We build. And so when we stop building, we stop existing. There's
Yeah.
no there's no point. If I'm just sitting around buying time, then just kill me off because there's no point. No, really. If I can't
Yeah.
build, if I can't create something, if I can't do something that's a contribution in one way or the other, or I can't make something bigger than myself, and I can't enjoy the people I love or feel love and have that emotion, then there's no point in living. As profound as silly as that may sound. But those two
Yeah.
things are what drive me. And so I think for every artist, if you're a filmmaker, you're a producer, you're a photographer, you're an actor, you've got to find, why are you doing what you're doing? Why did you choose this industry? What about it lights you up? And if there's something about it that lights you up, then continue to do it every day. Find little ways to make it happen. And that's why we do what we do. If it was simply about just making money, there's a lot easier ways to go make a living. And so this is far greater than that. Our industry is a business, but it is fueled by a passion that is a real burning passion, which is no different than the passion that any entrepreneur has. You know, Elon Musk or whoever, a scientist, whatever, they're all filled with a desire to make something bigger than ourselves. When we create a story, by definition, it's taken on something that represents something bigger than us. It's already living and breathing independent of us. So we are entrepreneurs. I really wish artists would start calling themselves entrepreneurs, because if you call yourself an entrepreneur, guess what? All of a sudden, you have both worlds, the artistic world and the business world combined. But when you call yourself an artist, all of a sudden, you're not a business person. you're not even allowed to be a business person. Shame on you. But if you call yourself an entrepreneur, which is really what we are, because once we're done with a story, we're on to the next. And once an entrepreneur finishes building something, they're on to the next. Elon Musk does the electric car. What's next? Spaceships. What's next? This, that, so it is really important, not necessarily the vocabulary, but the emotion of what we tell ourselves and what guides us, and what fuels us to motivate each other and motivate ourselves every day. And it's the whole reason for getting up. It's the whole reason for living. Who we love and what we build is what makes me do whatever I'm doing. That's it. Everything else goes by in a second. And in the end, really doesn't matter. The party that you go to, the money you made, the love that the passion that you had with somebody in a fling, and the movie you saw, none of it really means anything. It really doesn't. There's two things: who you love, who you would take a bullet for, and what you built. Did you build a nonprofit organization that helped people? Did you build a movie that impacted people's lives that will be bigger than you? And will it live on past your death that people will continue to get enjoyment out of? Did you build a medical facility that helps people? What you build and who you love is what matters, because it goes by too fast. And if you don't build anything and you don't feel any love and you don't love anybody, why are you here? That's the question. No, really. I mean, why are you here?
True.
You're just wasting oxygen. So make a contribution. And if you're an artist, you're not just an artist, you're an entrepreneur. Now make a contribution and don't give up. Anyway, for whatever it's worth, that's my silly little spiel. And that's what I live and die by. That's what I believe. I mean, that's the whole reason for being involved in our insane business,
Exactly.
Yeah. And
So how can people reach you?
if people have questions or want to reach me, I encourage them to send me an email. Probably the best way is through one of our distribution platforms, which is Osiris. So send it to Evan, EVAN, at OSIRIS. That's OsirisENT.com. Osiris stands for the Egyptian god of life and death. It's a name I chose for Osiris, but probably that email address is probably the best way to reach me, and with some way to get back to that person.
Okay. Okay. That about does it for part 10 of my interview with Evan Crooke. That is the final part. I want to thank him personally. As always, you can find me at Justin Yachts. Please like, share, and subscribe. Consider checking out the YouTube channel. And I will see you next time on the DMF.